Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. I recently finished the Love From Lizi May 2019 card kit, and I had one sheet of pattern paper left over that I just couldn't cut apart. It was just too cute. So I decided I would do something a little different with it. So this is very simple and it's not going to be a card. I did trim the pattern paper just a little bit, so this is 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and then I layered it on some black cardstock, and then I'm going to do a double matting and put it on this beautiful pink glitter paper. And just to make sure that it adheres, I put a little bit of score tape on there and then a whole bunch of liquid adhesive. I just find that adhering anything on the glitter paper is a little trickier, but the liquid adhesive is very helpful. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment smile, and this was from the Love From Lizi May kit. It's a great sentiment, nice, big, and bold, and it has this sweet little heart over the eye. So I have it on an oval die cut, and I'm going to heat emboss it. So first I just treated the paper with some anti-static powder, and then I got out my Versamark ink, and I'm using it in the Mini Misty just to make sure I get a good solid ink impression. So now I'm using the Black Raven embossing powder, and this is Love From Lizi's. And I do end up with just a few little strays. Even with that anti-static powder, I always seem to get a few. So I'm just using a paintbrush and brushing those away before I get my heat gun out. And I'll just go ahead and clean up the leftover embossing powder. And then I'm using my tweezers to hold on to this since it gets so hot. And I do find it's easier if I heat emboss from beneath. That way I don't blow any of those stray pieces around, and then just finish it off on the front side. I just love the look of heat embossing, especially with a nice bold sentiment. So now I'm going to add the same layers around the sentiment. So I have two more ovals cut out, one in some black cardstock and then the other in that same pink glitter paper. I'm using the liquid adhesive again just to adhere that in place. And I do put a little bit of extra weight on there with my ATG, just because it was heat embossed, the paper kind of warps up slightly. Now I'm just going to add some foam dimensional tape to the back of that oval just to pop it up slightly off of the card. And even though I love all these cameras, I felt it was okay to cover up just a little bit of it in the center. Even though this isn't a card, I still felt like I needed a little bit of bling. So I'm using some of the Petite Posies by Queen & Company, and I'm just putting 3 of them below the sentiment. And then just one more finishing touch, I'm going to add a couple of pink flowers just near the sentiment. And since that oval is popped up with all the foam dimensional tape and it has 3 layers of paper, I don't want the flower to sag. So I am going to put 2 layers of foam dimensional tape underneath part of the flower. But I found that the regular Scotch foam tape was just a little too thick, so then I switched it to some of these thinner foam squares. So I do need to put it on 3 of the little petals because those are the 3 that are hanging off of that oval. And just 1 layer of these thin foam squares still wasn't enough, so I did have to double those up, and then it was the perfect thickness. So then to adhere the little small pink flower, I'm just using a really small glue dot, and then I did put 1 under each of the darker pink petals. And there is my finished project, and I just love how it turned out. And I did find this fun, I think it's called a floating frame at Hobby Lobby. And so instead of putting it inside the frame, I did just adhere it to the outside using some score tape. I now have some new artwork to hang in my craft room. And pink with cameras just makes me happy. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.